1814 eruption. So this is it. And so they relocated from Albay Viejo. They went to Taisan, the upland village there, near the area of the cathedral. So they transferred to Sitaniman because the entire town, according to the record, was destroyed by fire. It was destroyed by fire. It was probably because the cascading lava eventually reached that old settlement at Albay. And so the entire church, the municipal building, the houses of the residents were destroyed, and so they had to transfer to Taisan. The next slide, please. This is an old map. A map I got from the Archivo Franciscano Rivero Oriental. Medyo interesante kasi butasan ko yan. Ang mapa ko yan, nakula maray. Mga araw kanila kada binubuksan ng mapa, ang entero na mesa, diwan sa Franciscan Archive, occupied ko. And sabi kanila ni Father Cayetano Sanchez Fuertes, Father Cayetano is the archivist of the Franciscan Archive, and he was telling me, when he learned that I am from Bicol, and I occasionally visit Albay, he was so happy because he was telling me he was one of the last Franciscan missionaries assigned in Camalig. So and he became the archivist. He was very old at the time when I started doing research in 1995 in the Franciscan Archives. And he showed me this big map of Albay during the eruption of Mayon volcano, 1814 eruption. I cut the map into two. I only present a portion here, which shows, if you notice, it says here, the old, and it says here, that old parish of Albay, and here, the other one, New Albay, they call it Taytay. So, ako lang po nagkakayan ng mga para maging malinaw, based on the certain legend na tinatapyan sa akin kung ano. Pag-identify po kaya kasi photo kanina yung kumpok, kasi nag-post kanina yung mountain na yun. Sabi niya, yan po. Pueblo de Albay, abrasado. So, abrasado is burned, ruined, destroyed. Okay. So, yan po ang, kaya inakot, since then, we refer to that old Albay as the Albay Viejo. So, young and years apart. Described as Cabecera and Pueblo. So, Cabecera, capital. So, if you notice po, ang nama sa mga mapa, baka po yan drawing in akin, drawing po yan professional, kan 1830s. So, if you notice, New Camalig po, Tundor, and yung mga mountains of these things, and here is New Albay, Old Taytay. Ini kung New Albay na yun na po yan, site na yan, cathedral na. So, they relocated it from the old Albay, from there sa area to Manaus, and dinala nila sa present site. After they left itong Taisan, originally, after a few days after the eruption of Mayon in 1814, they relocated to Taisan. And if you notice, most of those towns affected by the eruption of 1814 relocated southward, going to the upper part of the area of Albay. Because ang pagtukod nila, another eruption will take place. And if they are located in the lowland, they will be killed. So they decided to go upland to avoid the possibility of another eruption that will kill them. But few years after, 10 years, 15 years after, for example, ang Camalig nagduman sila sa Tundor, upper part. Pero by 1844, when they realized na maananggayang fear sila, maananggayang signs that Mayon is alive again, they decided to go down. Binalikan nila si simbahan ng Camalig. Imagine, for almost 20 years, ang Camalig, yung old church of Camalig, was abandoned. Until, as I said, by about 1844, the Tuninong National Guard, Mayon Bukid, they decided to go back to that area. The same case here in the Cabecera. When they realized after a while that Taisan is too high outside the mainstream of colonial life in Albay, they decided to go down and started building the cathedral where it is now looking at hill in a certain place known as Taytay. So the original place, the original name of that street, which of course in the colonial era, they call it the Calle Real. The Calle Real because this is where you have the municipal building, provincial building, the cathedral. That is the main Calle Real, the royal road, as I call it, the royal street. But originally, they were located in Taysan. So nag-transfer sila. Kaya ipunin doon, hindi po pagkatapos antay, hindi ako sa gilid ng dagat, hindi ako nag-antay sa. Next slide, please. The founding of Albay Nuevo. So, in Taytay. So, after the 1814 eruption, as I told you, they transferred to Taysan and later on went down to Taytay. So again, they started building the church. By the way, before they transferred here, they already had a church in Albay Viejo, in that place where we have the area of Ramis in Lamba. Pero sa description ko, ang 1776, may isang dokumento doon sa Subility, i-describe ang simbahan yan. You cannot reconcile the fact that halangkawan ang populasyon, and that means very prosperous ang lugar, and yet the appearance of the church was in a very, very sorry state. So, sa description, itong pali, nakaibahan ka ng obispo, na who was doing an episcopal visitation, sabi niya, pero mag-aasabi kayo, anong naman na simbahan niya? Makanuso sa mga ayan, rarako, not worthy even to celebrate Mass. And yet, very, very prosperous ang lugar. And sabi pa nga niya, they don't even have a place where a priest could reside in a more decent way. Kaya nga and this is part of kung saan sa history, you can see the human side of those who were part of history. Itong pali ang nag-history, pero medyo may nagchichismis siya. Pero marami na mga mga ng Diyos ng lugar na Leo. May natin yung na istara. And yet, sabi na, the priest was assigned in a lie upon learning that the bishop of Cáceres is coming over to hold his episcopal visitation, suddenly made a makeshift house for them to accommodate their important visitors. So it gave us an idea. But who was that kind of priest? Was he a good priest? Was he negligent of his responsibility? So the human side of history comes out even in these very, very little details in history. Diyan sa place na Albay. Which, as I said, I cannot reconcile that mayaman ng lugar, kadami ng tao, and yet ang simbahan sa tipos ng mga. See, so that was the case there in the Albay area. Now they transferred to the present site. Of course, very promising ang lugar. Why? Because the Dakar is in the main course of development. By this time, when they were there, they transferred in 1814, most probably in Taysan, but about 5 years after, they put up here the church center, they started building, and they transferred here, they started building around 1843. Because before that area, as you can see, before the one, they put up only a makeshift church, so made of nipa and bamboo instead. And later on, because there was already signs that the area is prospering. And one of the signs of that is, by around 1840s, nagkaroon ang Bicol region named superhighway, you might probably say a superhighway. From Naga to Albay, they already put up what they call Carretera del Sur. And this is an inland route to Legazpi. Why? Earlier on, if you are from Naga and you wanted to go to Albay, you have to travel through the Bicol River. But by 1840s, they already constructed a road, the Carretera del Sur, moving from the Plaza Rizal of Naga, going to Legazpi, and passing sa cathedral na yaman niya. So there was already signs that this is going to be a promising place for development. So they put a cathedral there. But interestingly, when they started building the cathedral, I think I showed you the map, some sign images there. They were so disappointed with the way the cathedral was constructed. Sabi ni Council 4, pirang taon na yan, nag-construct si cathedral, pero walls lang si nag-construct. And the people had already suffered so much in the construction. One reason they said is, we did not have competent workers. Obras intelligentes. So meaning say, people who are familiar with the work. And worst of all, itong walls na nag-construct nila, yung kababa talaga it's already beginning to collapse. And so they were so disappointed not only that it was structurally defective, but it was, according to the description, it was architecturally ugly. So, the colonial authorities decided to demolish the original cathedral and build another building out of the home that they demolished. So let's go to the next slide, how we get an idea of this. Again, just another demographic evidence. This was already when they already transferred here. This was about 1850. Young was sila dyan sa present site here. So, gusto sabihin yung 1850, after a few years after it was demolished, nagkaiwa na ng bagong building sa lugar na yan, and apparently ang area niya, nagbabago na ang imahe. Ang landscape is already changing, already showing signs of improvement and development. And here again, population is again a major issue. By this time, population of Albay continued to soar. Halang kaon ng girahan. Go back to the original, the first slide. If you look at the population again, ano ba tabi ka para emphasize ko? Among historians, ang populasyon, wala ang bagay that can spell so much development in Albay. Sabi ko tayo, sa paghihiling ito kung anong iwanan development or very, very poor is ang populasyon. And this time again, the signs of development continues to follow at follow, even in the new location. Tignan mo ang populasyon ng Albay, 24,155. Almost equivalent to a province in the colonial era. And yet sa Albay pa lang, 24 million ang populasyon. If you look at it, dumaan sa sunod kaya, Ligaw. If we go to the other side, it's a document, I mentioned it in the document. See, ang record is Albay, 24,135, the highest in the entire province, followed by Tabaco. Tabaco this time is already developing. Why? Because it is the jumping point for Catanduanes. So commerce in the Tabaco sa Catanduanes is already improving, and therefore naglalakaw ng populasyon nila. And Ligaw, 14,570. So again, indicator that there was so much promise of development in the town of Albay, where the cathedral is now located. Next slide, please. A portion of late 19th century map of Albay showing the renovation of the Church of San Gregorio Magno de Albay. From Albay Viejo, Legazpi, then we have Albay Nuevo, and then we have finally Legazpi. So Albay Viejo, so yan po si Taysan. Si Legazpi, this is already post-1850 map. Legazpi, and then Taysan. Rawis, Bigaa. So yan po sila na baryo Lambda, mga baryo kami, what became the Legazpi, the original barrios that constitute the new town of Legazpi. And in Pampaisan, where earlier on, after the 1814 eruption, nag-relocate ang mga tao sa Ubang Bayan. So, this is together. You know, it's an old map. Now, next slide please. Mahal po kamo. Ano tayo kanan ko ang populasyon ng Albay? Because I said, the number of population is an indicator of development. Why? What is in Albay that attracted people? Not only natives but even foreigners. One thing, Abaca. By 1700s, Abaca is already a recognized world capitalist community. Ano ang value ng Abaca? Not just as land, as a panagpasas ng value today. Yet, in the 18th century world, it was a very, very valuable. Ang value ng Abaca niya, ginagamit ko sa mga bato, sa mga kanyo. So, by 1879, ikaw ang mga kanyo. So, ang mga kanyo na yan, nagagamit ng mga lubin para sa angkor, para sa mga mast. Because the international mode of transportation at the time was the kanyo. So, they traveled from Mexico to the Philippines. Philippines to Mexico, and from Mexico to Spain. And they already developed some kind of pioneers in South America. They call it Canyon in Mexico. But they realized that the quality of Abaca in Mexico is comparatively poor than the quality of the Abaca that they accidentally discovered in the Philippines. Ang dahilan po, ang Abaca sa Mexico very brittle. Pag ginagawa sa salt water, naputol. Pero ang Abaca na already sa people, lasting. Elastic, pero bakit stretchable, pero di siya nagiging na-stay na, talagang na-stretch, nabalik siya. Kaya yan na ang gayon ng quality ng Abaca. And that's what is important for the gardeners of the time. And because of that, there was so much demand for Abaca in the neighborhood. To the point that foreigners were gradually trooping over to Albay to settle here and invest in Abaca. And that means it also attracted locals from other provinces because there is employment waiting for them because there will be gradual investment growing in the Abaca industry in Albay. And remember, Albay from the mid-19th century until 1921 is one of the richest provinces, if not the richest province in the entire Philippines because of Abaca. When the Abaca industry peaked in the late 19th century. So yan po ang dahilan ng mga grabe naman si development sa Albay by the 18th century onward. So again, this is another map. You will notice this is a map of Albay in the 19th century, early 19th century. Gusto sabihin, after the 1814 eruption. Yan pong pula, may cross. Yun na po yan ang katedral. So this is now the cathedral around 1840s. And this is now the plaza. Dito, circle po yan. Yan po ang plaza naman yan dyan sa tubangan ng cathedral. And hindi po nakakagyan council. Yun na po yan sa provincial capital niya. This is about, sabi ko nga, this is about 1830s, 1840s. So, gusto sabihin, by this time, after 1843, sabi ko, nag-ulit ng construction ng cathedral, they demolished that. So probably 5 years or more after, natapos na si cathedral, kaya yun ang nangyari siya nag-exist niya. So it is now a well-done capital of a province. The one responsible for this, si Governor Peñaranda. Jose Peñaranda, kaya iba kita tinatawag na Peñaranda Street or Plaza of Peñaranda. In honor of this very, very great man who was assigned as governor of Albay around 1830s. and he was responsible for the tremendous urban development of Albay. And yun na po yung nagbudo sa mga sa Kuya. Kaya kung may nagpunito, may ginampo sa gilid ng katedral, yun na po yung ginampo na di-exist. So, this is around 1840s or 1850s. Next slide, please. Sige, dalawang slides. Just to give you ini po ang pinaka-elot na plano that we got. I got this from a certain newspaper in Spain. I think El Oriente, which featured Albay around 1840s or 1850s. So, we featured in that plano ng Cathedral ng Albay. And I think this is where Cathedral, the building of the Cathedral is patterned after it was demolished in the earlier attempt to construct the Cathedral. So,